What's up, guys? So I'm doing another quick vlog today, and it's very interesting, the things I have learned today. It's just things I've picked up and noticed over the years, and I want to share these with you. So the first thing is just how long a life I've lived. You know, it seems like I'm pretty young, and I am pretty young, but I just can't help but realize, like, all the things I've done in my childhood and throughout my life, that looking back, they seem like a lifetime. Like, I'd gone through all these experiences, and one event today just really triggered that. Basically, I was just with my family helping them out, and I remembered just this moment with a friend of mine, and how we basically spent all this time together back in school because we were working on piano. We were working on practicing piano, and those times felt like lifetimes away, because it was in fact lifetimes away. It was many years ago, and I just look back on my life and I realized, you know, you can go through so many experiences, and it makes sense because many people, they died at the age of 20. And really, one of the greatest discoveries of all time in the last century was antibiotics. That discovery alone increased our lifespan by about 30 years. So it makes complete sense to feel like you are really old, or really you've gone through a lot in your time. Having said that, you know, I understand really well, and this is something I'm still trying to drum into my head, and there are times where I forget it, and I'm really blessed for the internet and certain podcasts which have really helped me, because on the other extreme, you can feel like, well, my life is almost over, you know, now my cycle's ended, now it's time to raise kids, and that's it. And it can get very depressing after that. You know, you get a job, you get pregnant, or you get someone pregnant, and you know, your glory days are over, you know. And I'm very lucky to, you know, just through observation, seeing other people, watching vlogs on YouTube, seeing my own experiences and everything else, it's really cool just going through that and understanding, like, that's not true. And one of the best things I learned, and this is specific to me, but I learned that you are still a baby until 50 years of age. You're still a baby. Like, there's so much you think you know, or you think that you've mastered everything. Nuh-uh. And I think I picked this up from very successful people, business leaders, people who have done a lot in life, had a lot of success in many areas of life, from dating to making money to whatever else. And so it's very uplifting and enlightening. And there's this one specific podcast that I listened to which really just helped me out, and it really helped me out because it's very easy to fall into this trap of, well, you know, things aren't going well, and therefore it's over. I won't have any success with women. And it was explained to me that, hey, for a male, your prime can be in your late 30s, your early 30s, your late 40s even. And it's one of the blessings of being a male. So don't give up hope, you know. Don't be so depressed about such a thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it about that, at least. So let's talk about some other stuff, because I think there are other things that are interesting as well. What else did I learn today? Well, I learned that people are, you know, despite people being very different, which they are very different individuals on the same side. I think it's due to the internet and globalization. I'm pretty sure it's due to the internet and cable TV and a lot of things like that. But we're all coming together in a way, especially in America. And obviously there's still geographic trends and so forth, racism, depending on the area and so forth. But I'm really starting to discover that, you know, especially after meeting people from all over, you know, different coasts, from up north to down south to everything, they're very similar. And all the typical American trends, the humor, everything, everyone understands it, and everyone's pretty chill and they're pretty normal. And I think this is due to the internet. I really do think so. People are starting to just homogenize a bit, and I think there'll always be differences, but it's really cool seeing that. Like, people are just really, like, I can understand them and they can understand me, and everything's like pretty normal, and you can't even tell that they're from down south or up north sometimes, not all the time, which I think is very, very interesting. What else do I want to say? Well, let's continue on that point. I think that point on its own is very fascinating. So what I also learned is that people are very different, and at the same time they're very similar, which let me expound upon. So they're very different, which is awesome, because in a way it can give you hope, it can give you variety, it can give you diversity. So for instance, if you have people that you don't like, or you get very stuck in a community where you're just not clicking, well, that means there's always hope, because you know, especially if you're wired to think that, okay, well, I don't get along with these people in this time and place in my life, and that's all there is. But it's not the case. There's so many different types of people out there where you can eventually maybe find someone who is more in sync with how you are. Again, you want to avoid the extremes, in my opinion, because this may just be some scapegoat where you're constantly searching and you're just being way too picky, and you're very arrogant, and then you start thinking, well, it's not me that's the problem, it's the other people, and then you never really find someone or people that you click with. On the flip side though, I think it's really cool, because if you're not so on the extreme, but you understand, you know, if you don't click with one group, it's okay, you know, later in your life you can meet more people. I think this is an awesome thing, because well, long story short, you can end up meeting some really darn cool individuals in your life. And I do think, like, depending on how picky you can get, it can get a little bit too much. So what do I mean by this? Well, think of it this way. Think about people who are just really, really picky, and they want very specific individuals. They want a gamer girl who's very attractive, and then they get along with really well, and all this other stuff, and they think, oh, that's who I want to be my girlfriend, or these are the types of people I want to be friends with. The problem with that is, okay, first off, you can perhaps work on a lot of things yourself, and that may be the bigger issue at play. Because even if you were to meet these people, which again we'll get to later, but if you were to meet those people, you may not bring value, or you may not be able to just be yourself, keep a conversation going, and you may think that you automatically click, but perhaps in reality that's not the case. So there's a lot of factors at play, I think, wherein you know, you have to turn inward and work on yourself as well. On the same flip side though, I do think that I guess meeting people, there is hope out there. So long story short, what I was reminded of today was just how awesome the world is, and how people can be awesome, not always. And you know, there's a lot of people out there, billions out there. So I just think it's very interesting, and you know, you can meet more and more people out there, and I think the point is there's hope out there if you think that, okay, things aren't fitting in with my social circle, or the people you're interested in dating not interested in you, and so forth. But again, I don't think you should take the extreme of just spamming and running about, and I guess spamming approaching everyone. And I do think the last thing is just I guess a bit of patience in that, you know, you may not have the opportunity, especially if you're in middle school or high school, to really branch out. Like, you may in high school, but realize that in certain ways patience can pay off in the long run. If things aren't working out geographically now, you may just have to realize that, you know, for now, high school is not a time where I will be the king of being popular and making friends and getting girls, and that's okay, that's fine. Perhaps you can work on progressing your long-term future, and I do think that's fine, completely fine. Again, for the Asian culture, I do think that's overstressed a bit, but generally speaking, you know, from what I've observed, it's not just the Asian culture. You know, a lot of people, white people, black people, most of them are not, you know, where they want to be in terms of high school, and that's completely fine, you know. So realize that, and it's okay. And so for those sorts of environments also, you know, it can be very popularity dominated, social hierarchy dominated, based off that small community. And I don't think this is always the case. So again, general trends can be broken as well. So yeah. And then what else have I learned today, or just been reminded of? Well, one thing is just the fact that people are awesome, and you know, things can go better if you hang in there and you have hope. So today I bought some shoes, which was awesome. I bought some shoes that were at Payless. So I went to Payless, and it was a great time, because first off, if you haven't heard of Payless, it's basically the store where you can buy, I guess, discounted shoes. I don't know how it works. I guess they get like back orders of extra shoes, and they sell them for pretty cheap, anywhere from $10 to $30 per pair, and they're pretty good quality shoes. You know, they don't have a good selection like a normal store would, but you got a whole motley crew of shoes, and they're just randomly organized in there. So I went there and I sifted through, and long story short, I came out with a pretty good deal. Basically the price tag on the shoe was $20-ish, and then the tag said on sale, and that brought it down to 15-ish, and then I had this coupon code which I searched up online, and that brought it down to about 12-13 bucks. So pretty good deal. Random, but again, I'm getting back into fashion and style, which I think is very important. So that's why I am more focused on that sort of stuff now. What else? Well, I learned that well, here's probably one of the biggest things I learned today, or just was reminded of. When you meet a lot of people, and I don't think I've met an exceptionally extreme amount of people. In fact, I think I'm maybe slightly above average, but I do think that when you meet a lot of people, you start realizing how they all have their own experiences, their own perspectives, and their own life experiences. And especially when you meet people in college or out of college, just out of college and so forth, or even out of high school, it's just really refreshing. And that's what I learned today. It's just like they have their own goals and so forth, and it really just reminds me of how, I guess, new to the world, and how much inexperienced and new they are. You know, in certain ways they're, I guess, they would think that they're old individuals that have gone through a lot. I mean, you see some of these people who are graduating thinking that they're old now, or that's it for them, or they've seen everything, done everything, they're seniors. But especially from what I've learned and what I've experienced, they're actually in a lot of ways still babies. And it's so weird looking at it from that angle, because I know how much more life they have to live, and how much more they have to learn and experience, and how inexperienced and new and sometimes they're often very vibrant and energetic, and they're a bit naive, and they want to see the world and want to see what experiences are out there. And it's just very interesting understanding that, because at the same time I could see the perspective which I kind of used to have, which was that you know, once you graduate all these schools, you think you're the top dog. Oh, I'm the senior in middle school. Oh, I'm the senior in high school, and on and on and on. And what I've learned is that, well, you can still be a baby. You can still be a little baby. So I think that's very interesting, seeing all that. I think it's quite interesting, in fact, because you have all these experiences and you're just like, and you see all these new people coming in, and in the back of your mind you're just like, you have a lot to learn. And I think I still have a lot to learn, a lot to do, and it's just very interesting.